Hello friends and welcome back to my channel Auditing Tricks, which is one-stop solution for all your audit related queries. In this video, we will see and learn what are the risks related to IT general controls. Audit professional or working in an MNC or a big four firm, then you can buy our resources which will be useful for your internal audit professional journey. We have internal audit checklist, internal audit reports, risk registers, RCMs and SOPs. We also have templates which have 40 type of templates, more than 800 slides we are offering in PPT format which you can buy. So you can mail us for the rate list at auditingtricks@gmail.com. In this video, we will cover the risk of ITGC related to the following sub-processes, including IT asset management, antivirus management, backup and restoration, user access management, incident reporting management, user ID maintenance, and password maintenance. Before starting the video, do subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit like button to this video, and you can post your comments in the comment section with your queries or your appreciations. Also, you can share this video link with your friends and family members who are interested in the auditing. So let's start learning the risk of the ITGC controls. The first sub-process which we'll be covering is related to IT asset management. The first risk is inadequate control over IT asset records and its movements. Here, the control objective is to ensure that a detailed list is maintained to track all the IT assets. It is not a fraud risk and it can be classified as a medium risk. The next one is unauthorized modifications in IT asset records. Here we need controls to ensure that access of IT asset tracker is restricted. Yes, it can be a fraud risk and it can be a high rated risk as well. The next one is unauthorized procurement of IT assets. This is required to ensure that all the IT assets are procured based on required approvals. This is not a fraud risk and can be rated as a medium risk. The next one is IT assets are not returned by the leavers or separators, leading to financial loss to the company. Here, we need control to ensure that assets are given to the employees and other users are returned at the time of their separation or termination. This is a fraud risk and can be classified as a high rated risk. The next risk in the IT asset management is periodic verification of unused IT assets not done. This is required to ensure that the stock is available and reconciled with the books. This is not a fraud risk and can be rated as a low risk. Next risk is IT assets not purchased at the competitive price. This control is required to procure quality products at a competitive price. This is not a fraud risk and can be rated as a high risk. The next one is all IT assets not labeled or serially numbered. This control is required to ensure the correctness of the IT stock. This is a medium rated risk. And the next one is unauthorized issuance of IT assets to the individuals. Here the control is required to ensure that the assets are transferred only to the authorized people. This can be a fraud risk and can be rated to a high rated risk. I hope you're liking the video. Do subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so that you receive all the notifications, and hit like to the video if you like the content. The next sub-process which we will covering is related to the antivirus management of the ITGC controls. Here the first risk is hacking or virus attacks which may lead to leakage of the information or loss of data. Here the control is required to ensure that the controls are put in place for protection of data from any hacking or any kind of virus attack possibilities. This is not a fraud risk and can be classified as a medium rated risk. The next one is loss of sensitive information due to virus attack or legal action in case of usage of pirated software. Here, the control is required to ensure that the controls are in place for protection of data and information from the theft or leakage of any software, hardware, or any user account. Yes, it can be rated as a fraud risk and can be classified as a high rated risk. The next one in this category is possibility of loss of data information due to unauthorized software download or any inappropriate website browsing. Here we need the control to ensure that the company have a firewall policy to protect systems from inappropriate content or to ensure that antivirus blocks the websites which are not allowed as per the company norms. It is not a fraud risk and can be rated as a medium rated risk. The next sub-process is related to the backup and restoration management. Here, the first risk is possibility of data loss or incomplete data backup. Here, we need to ensure that the data is adequately backed up as per defined processes. This is not a fraud risk and can be rated as a high rated risk. The next risk is possibility of data loss due to corrupted backup media. Here we need control to ensure that the backup media is regularly checked and verified to check readability of the data. This is not a fraud risk and can be rated as a medium risk. The next risk is possibility of loss or theft of data due to unauthorized movement of data backup. Here we need to ensure that there is no unauthorized movement of data and data movement should be safe and monitored by someone. Yes, it can be classified as a fraud risk and is a high rated risk. The next one is possibility of loss of financial data. Here we need to ensure that the data backup is kept at a place which is safe outside the premises or the office. It is a fraud risk and can be rated as a high rated risk. The next sub-process which we will cover in ITGC controls is user access management. The first risk is unauthorized user ID creation, access rights allowed, leading to possibility of loss of data. Here we need the control to ensure that no unauthorized user ID is created and no unauthorized access rights are allowed, like any kind of a T code or something. Yes, it can be a fraud risk and it's a high rated risk. The next one is segregation of duty conflict due to wrong allocation of T codes access to a user. Here we need the control to ensure that the segregation of duty conflict is ensured while allocating any kind of roles or T code access to the users. It can be a fraud risk and can be rated as a high rated risk. The next one is unauthorized use of the systems beyond his employment tenure, which may lead to leakage of sensitive information. Here we need to ensure that the access rights of employees leaving the organizations are backed or blocked on time, that is from the last working day of the employee. It can be a fraud risk and can be classified as a high rated risk. The next one is super user ID and password is shared with the multiple users. So here we need the control to ensure that the super user ID is access is restricted only to IT personals and to the restricted people only. Yes, it can be classified in the fraud risk category and can be rated as a high risk. The next sub-process which we will cover in the ITGC risk is incident management. So the first risk is absence of resolution for IT related queries. Here we need control to ensure that the company have installed incident management system. It is not a fraud risk and can be rated as a low risk. The next is delay in resolving IT issues of the users. Here we need the control to ensure that IT related issues of any user are resolved within the defined timelines and as per the satisfaction. It is not a fraud risk and can be classified as a low risk. The next are IT issues closed without providing any satisfactory resolution to the users or user dissatisfaction and delay in operations of the company. Here we need the control to ensure that the users are informed after the resolution of issues raised by them is being done. It is not a fraud risk and can be classified as a medium risk. The next one is IT issues tickets remain open may impact the working operations of the business. Here we need the control to ensure that open ticket status is reviewed on a periodic basis and tickets are closed on a timely basis. It is not a fraud risk and can be classified as a medium rated risk. I hope you're liking the video. Do subscribe my channel and hit the like button. So the next risk category is related to the user ID maintenance. Here the first risk is users given access to the services or any applications which they are not specifically authorized to use. Here we need to ensure as a control that only authorized users are given the access rights to the applications. It is a fraud risk and can be classified under a high rated category. The next one is related to the user ID is created without approval from the competent authority as per the chart of authority. Here we need to ensure that ID is created only after due approval from the competent authority defined by the management under the chart of authority. It can be a fraud risk and can be rated as a high rated risk. The next risk under this category is multiple active user IDs are being created for a single employee. Here we need to ensure that each user is assigned only one user ID and cannot be issued more than one. It is not a fraud risk and can be rated as a medium risk. The next one is that no security awareness to new employees before they are allowed access to network or any kind of applications. Here we need to establish the controls to ensure that the employees are aware of subsequences of wrong usage of any kind of system or any applications. It is not a fraud risk and can be classified as a low risk. The next subsection which we will cover in ITGC risk are password management. So the first risk is strong password policy not implemented to ensure that all passwords are changed from their defaults and are not easy to guess. Here we need the control to ensure that the safety of password and protection of data. It is not a fraud risk and can be rated as a medium risk. The next is laptops and desktops not password protected. Here anyone cautious or intended to access the information on that laptop or desktop within the premises can access it. Here we need the control to ensure that there is a safety of password and privacy of data. It can be a fraud risk and can be rated as a high risk. The next one is that highly sensitive systems do not keep under physical lock and key in addition to the password protection. Here we are talking about the physical security. So the control is required to ensure the safety and protection of the system, assets and data in physical form. It is not a fraud risk and can be rated as a medium risk. The next one is password management system enforcing various password controls such as accountability, enforcing password change at a regular intervals or storing passwords in the encrypted form or not displaying password on the screen etc. is not implemented. So here we need to ensure the safety of password and protection of data. It is a fraud risk and can be rated as a high risk. So congratulations, you now know all the risks related to the IT general controls and you can do audit in your organization related to the ITGC controls. I hope you like the video and the content. So do subscribe to my channel for more audit related content. Do share this video link with your friends and family who are interested in the audit and its related topics. Do hit like to the video and keep following me for more content. If you want to buy our resources, you can email us at auditingtricks@gmail.com. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.